Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about my first year. I just passed my first year as a real estate agent and I want to talk about it. First of all, we're going to talk about expectations versus reality. I've got a few things that I want to talk about that I was not aware of, didn't know, naive, but I've learned. After that, I want to talk about, sorry, it's raining and I'm distracted. After that, I want to talk about my personal first year, how many transactions I did, how much I made, volume-wise, things like that. And let's get started. Let's do it. All right, my first year. I have some expectations versus reality. I've got 4 of them that off the top of my head have been the most enlightening as a realtor. So I've got my notes here. So the first one I want to talk about is transactions are not easy. It's, from the outside and looking in before you get started, it's like, okay, so you find a client, you find a house, you get under contract and you close in 4 weeks. No. There's so much to a transaction. You're going to learn something different every single time. The biggest things during a transaction that can make it fall apart is the inspection and the appraisal. I can go a little bit more into depth on those. I didn't want to make this video too long. So when you have an inspection, the buyer wants certain things fixed. The seller doesn't want to fix them. The deal can fall through, just to put it easily. And when it comes to an appraisal, the lender orders the appraisal to confirm, that the value of the home matches the dollar amount that the lender is giving to the borrower for the home. And if the dollar amounts don't match up, the deal can fall through. Simply put, I've gone through a couple transactions with difficult appraisals, not appraisers, with off appraisals. I ended up making them go through, and I can talk more about that too if that's something you guys are interested in. But moving on. Second one is paperwork. Paperwork is not easy. There's so much paperwork. My advice to you is to learn the paperwork the best you can. Know your contracts, especially your contracts, meaning the listing agreement, seller's agency, the buyer's agreement, buyer's agency, and the actual contract for residential sale or commercial sale, depending which one I guess you worked with more. But know your contracts. You will get clients that don't understand it, and you need to be the one that explains it to them. You are the one expecting them to sign it. You need to be the one that explains it to them. And if you don't know what it means, it's going to make you look stupid. And that's probably my biggest fear, is looking stupid, especially in front of potential clients or actual clients. So go through your contracts. When I first started, and I even do it now because I don't fully understand every little tiny piece of information that's in all these contracts, and I've learned as I've gone and been through transactions. But I actually have a copy of buyer, seller, and contract that have sticky notes on them on each section, that it kind of just briefly, in 5 words or less, explains what that part of the contract is. Do that, learn it, understand it, know your shit. Excuse my French. Moving on. The third thing is your schedule. I thought, I've got a family, I've got a fiance, I've got kids, and I thought before I started that I'm going to be self-employed. I'm going to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want. However, although that is true, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, but at the end of the day, you're still your own boss, and the amount of work and the things that you put into your business is how successful your business is going to be. And when you have clients, they take up a lot of time, whether they're sellers or buyers. I've had time-consuming sellers, I've had time-consuming buyers. And especially when you have buyers, they work, or, you know, they have families as well, and they can only look at houses after 5 p.m. Monday through Friday or on weekends. And that's what schedule you're going to have to work around. You're going to have to be able to show them houses when it's convenient for them. And sellers, you know, a lot of times they're a little bit easier as far as time consuming, but there are some that will call you and will want you to cater to them. You always have to draw boundaries with your clients, and when you're first starting, it's hard to do that because you're so hungry. I still am, and I will take everything that comes to me, honestly. But yeah, so when I talk about schedule, you know, and it's not just clients, you have a business to run, you have lead generation to do, you have marketing, you have farming, you have social media, you know, you have all of these different things that you need to do to continue to build your business. And honestly, you should be always adding something. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to grow. And that's the whole point, is to grow and be successful. So not only do you have clients that you have to work around, you have a family that you have to work around, you have a business that you need to focus on and make sure that you're putting everything into it that you can, and continue to do better and continue to add to it. Your schedule is going to be crazy, and be prepared. It's going to suck at times. You're going to be so tired from working 20 days in a row without a day off that you just want to cry. I've done it. It's fine. Take a day off when you need it. Mental health is more important. For sure. Okay. Last thing I was unaware of when I first started, I did not realize how much driving I would be doing. Seriously. Whether you're door knocking and dropping flyers off, whether you're showing buyers houses, whether you're going on appointments for sellers, you are going to be doing so much driving. Now, luckily, I have a 2017 Honda Accord Hybrid. I get about 580 miles to a tank, which is perfect. I can tell you right now, I've probably put at least 20,000 miles since January of 2021, and it is October 2021. I have put a lot of miles on my car. Do not underestimate the amount of driving you will be doing, especially when you're first starting out, because you're hungry. I still am. I do a lot of driving. You have clients that don't really care what city they live in. They just want to live in the radius of 150 miles, you know, and you're going to do it. You know, you want the business, you want the referral, and you're going to do it. So be prepared. You're going to be doing a lot of driving. And not only is that costly, depending on how efficient your car is, it's taking up your time too. So again, going back to the whole time management thing, you need to understand that doing productive things are important with your time. Do very productive things. All right, so just to recap that really quick, 4 things: the expectation versus reality, the transactions I thought were easy peasy. They're not. Paperwork, same thing, not easy. Schedule, not easy. No. You know, I don't even know that I have a social life anymore. But it's okay. Right. And last, how much driving I'm going to be doing. Now, these are 4 things that I personally felt like were things I didn't really grasp until I started actually doing it. So I'm sure there's many other things out there that I could probably talk about as far as expectation versus reality, but those are 4 things that really stuck out to me as far as my first year. I didn't get it. I do now. I've learned my lessons. Okay. I want to talk about my first year. I am on cloud 9. I had 12 full months in the business, and I have been so anxious to talk about this and make this video. I'm so proud of myself. I just want to say that I set a goal for myself for the first 12 months of real estate. I exceeded that goal. and I can't wait for the next year. I have so many things in place, so many things in the works. I'm going to continue to grow, and I love my job, and this is so exciting to me. So anyways, my first year. So we're talking October 2020 to October 2021. My first year, I first want to say that I worked my full-time job for the first 2.5 months of me having my business or my license. I stayed at my full-time job. I wanted to close 1 or 2 transactions. I wanted to have a little bit of a nest egg. They say to have 6 months. I wanted something, you know, to be able to hold me through. I knew I was going to succeed, but I wanted to have some sort of backup. And so that's what I did. The first 2.5 months, I stayed at my job, my full-time 8 to 5 job, and I worked real estate on weekends and at night. So I called for sale by owners. I mean, I can do another video if somebody's interested in that, about what I did. I did so much stuff and different things my first few months. And so I can talk about that in a different video, but that's what I did. I worked 2 months. My first close, my first client was from my sphere of influence. I kept my schooling about real estate, going to real estate school, very quiet. And if you watched my previous video, I took my national and state separately. And once I passed my national, I started telling people, because I knew it was only gonna be 30 days before I was gonna take my state test, pass it, and have my license. I started telling my friends. And so I had a friend who was my first client, and I got really fortunate because that client just so happened to be a 2-transaction client, meaning that he sold his house and bought a new one. So I got really lucky, and I'm very fortunate for my sphere, but I closed my first deal about 45 days after I was licensed. So in November, I closed my first deal, and he ended up closing buying his home in December. So by the time I quit my job at the end of December, I had closed 2 deals. I had a good little nest egg, and with what I had going on in the works and my pipeline and stuff, I felt comfortable enough to quit my job. So I put in my 2 weeks notice. My last day was December 31st of 2020. And so now I want to talk about how many transactions I did my first year. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. And like I said, I exceeded my goal, and I'm super proud of myself, and I can't wait to see what happens this next year. So drum roll. That was bad. That was really bad. Okay, anyways, my first year I did 14 transactions. My goal was 12. I did 14. I couldn't be happier. I can't believe some days that this is what I do, what I get to do, and I did it. Like, I did it. I was successful. I did it, you know, my first year. Yeah, like, it's got me on cloud 9 when I think about it. It's so surreal. So just a little breakdown of those 14 transactions. I had 3 sellers, 3 selling transactions. I had 4 deals from my sphere of influence, friends. So I think, if I remember correctly, I probably should have wrote this down, but if I remember correctly, the very first deals that I had were my sphere. So that was 2 transactions. I had another sell transaction, and I had a buy transaction. So 3 different clients, 4 transactions as far as my sphere goes. And I had 2 different people that were buy sell or sell buy. So I had 2 clients that sold and bought with me, which are easy because it's 2 transactions in a short period of time, kind of at the same time, because they have to sell and then buy. They gotta have somewhere to go. With all that being said, I want to talk about the deals that I lost. So it wasn't all cupcakes and rainbows. I did lose 3 deals this year, and I can talk about them in another video, but you know, those 3 deals, almost every single one of them almost took me down. It's discouraging. It sucks, especially when you feel like you didn't do anything wrong and you did everything you could. And that's one thing about real estate, is you can work your butt off and never see a reward for it, or see a reward for it a year later. So, you know, with that being said, I had a good year. And oh, I almost forgot. So volume. Yes, volume. The average price point in my area is about $180,000, $200,000. With that being said, my volume for my first 12 months was $2,030,150, which is great for me. I wanted 2 million, I wanted 12 deals, and I did it. So set your goals, set them high, and you can do it. And you have to sometimes, right? So that's pretty much all I had for today's video. I know that there were a few times throughout the video I was like, you know, if you want me to talk about this in another video, I would be happy to make one. For instance, if you want to know how I got these clients, the 14 transactions, you know that a few of them were from my sphere, but I got them other ways too. I got the rest of my clients other ways. So if you want to hear me blab on about that, like, subscribe, follow, and turn your notifications on so you can see when I post. Gonna try to do once a week. We'll see. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a great day. As you can see, it's raining here for me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. I appreciate it so much. Check out my channel for other videos on being a new real estate agent, or even taking the test. I've got a really good video on how to pass the first time. I can't wait to keep doing this and making these videos for you guys and helping you out. I hope it helps somebody out. Reach out to me if you have questions about anything real estate related, or otherwise. I guess I'm always down for new friends. But anyways, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!